Highly recommend not buying a Tesla Model 3.
Mark, what's the best electric car?
None of them.
Do not buy an electric vehicle because you think you're going to save on gas money.
I hate Teslas. They need so much maintenance.
In January 2026, headlines started calling it a revolution. Tesla, they said, had solved the battery problem that has haunted electric cars for a decade. Solid state. No more fires, no more range anxiety. Fixed in a single announcement. That is not what Tesla announced. What the company actually confirmed is narrower than the headlines suggested, harder to explain in 15 words, and, once you understand what it took to get there, arguably more interesting than the myth that grew up around it. Because the real story isn't about Tesla suddenly leapfrogging the laws of chemistry. It's about an 8-year manufacturing problem that nearly every battery company on Earth has failed to crack, and about what happens to a supposedly unbeatable rival, China's BYD, when Tesla finally closes that gap. To understand why any of this matters, you have to start with the same 4 problems that have limited every electric car for the last decade, because that's exactly what both companies are still fighting. Electric vehicle sales have grown from fewer than 1 million a year in 2015 to nearly 14 million in 2023, according to the International Energy Agency. That growth is real, but 4 structural problems have limited how far and how fast it can go, and they have barely moved in a decade. The first is range anxiety, the fear of running out of charge somewhere without a nearby fast charger, still one of the most cited reasons people hesitate to buy an EV, especially outside dense cities. The second is charging time. Even on the fastest public chargers available today, going from 20 to 80% charge typically takes somewhere in the range of 20 to 30 minutes, compared with about 5 minutes to refuel a gas tank. The third is degradation. Older nickel-based battery chemistries have historically lost a meaningful share of their capacity after 8 to 10 years of hard use, which does not just shorten range, it damages resale value because buyers used to gas cars that hold their worth for years are wary of a car whose main component visibly wears out. The fourth is cost. The battery pack has historically represented somewhere between 1/4 and 40% of an EV's total price, though that figure has been falling as global pack prices drop toward roughly $100 to $115 per kilowatt hour by 2025. Still the single most expensive component in the car, just a shrinking one. What makes these 4 walls so stubborn is that they tend to fight each other. Push more energy into a smaller pack for more range, and you add cost and charging time. Push more current through a cell to charge faster, and you generate heat that accelerates degradation. For a decade, most improvements have meant trading one wall for another. And sitting at the center of nearly all 4 problems is one part of the battery that almost nobody outside the industry thinks about: a liquid. Inside a conventional lithium-ion battery, charged particles called lithium ions travel between the 2 electrodes through a liquid electrolyte, essentially the highway the energy moves across. That liquid is flammable, which is the underlying cause of most EV battery fires. It slowly breaks down with each charge cycle, which is a major driver of long-term capacity loss. And it becomes less conductive in cold weather, which is a large part of why EVs lose range in winter. One liquid sitting inside nearly every EV battery built over the last decade, contributing to 3 of the 4 walls at once. The theoretical fix has been known for close to 20 years. Replace the liquid electrolyte with a solid one, typically a ceramic or glass-like material. No liquid means nothing to catch fire, a slower breakdown pathway, and materials that hold up better in the cold. On paper, a genuine all-solid-state battery would meaningfully improve at least 3 of the 4 walls at once. In practice, nobody has managed to build one that survives inside a real car for years of daily driving. There are 2 well-documented reasons why. First, as a solid-state cell charges and discharges repeatedly, the solid materials expand and contract slightly, and over thousands of cycles that stress creates microscopic cracks where components meet. Cracks that interrupt the very path the energy is supposed to travel along. Second, as the cell charges, thin needle-like structures of metal, known as dendrites, can slowly grow through the solid material. Given enough cycles, they can bridge the 2 electrodes and cause an internal short circuit. Both problems are established documented failure modes in battery science, not speculation. They're the reason major battery makers, CATL, Toyota, Volkswagen's QuantumScape, China's GAC Group, and firms like GBT and Sunwoda are still targeting mass production windows somewhere between 2026 and 2030, with most starting at small batch or limited vehicle testing before any full-scale rollout. Tesla is not among the companies closest to a production solid-state cell, which raises an obvious question. If Tesla didn't solve solid-state, what exactly did it announce? The answer traces back to May 2019, when Tesla paid roughly $235 million to acquire a company called Maxwell Technologies, largely for its expertise in something called dry electrode manufacturing. At Tesla's Battery Day presentation in September 2020, the company laid out the vision. Instead of the industry-standard wet process, which mixes battery materials into a toxic solvent, coats it onto metal foil, and runs it through enormous, energy-hungry drying ovens, Tesla wanted to press dry powder directly into a self-supporting film. No solvent, no ovens, a smaller factory footprint, and a real path to lower cost per cell. Tesla got the anode side of that process working relatively early. The cathode side proved far harder. The powder used for a dry cathode is more brittle and abrasive than the anode material, and early attempts suffered from cracking, delamination, and inconsistent quality at any meaningful production volume. For roughly 6 years, Tesla's 4680 cell, the larger format battery unveiled at that same 2020 event, shipped with a dry anode paired with a conventional wet cathode, a hybrid process that captured only part of the promised savings. That changed in Tesla's fourth quarter and full year 2025 shareholder update, released in late January 2026. The company confirmed that its 4680 cells produced at Gigafactory Texas now use the dry electrode process for both the anode and the cathode, the first time, according to industry reporting, that any automaker has achieved scaled dry electrode production on both sides of a production EV battery cell. Tesla's vice president overseeing the 4680 program confirmed publicly that both electrodes now use the company's dry process. Around the same time, Tesla resumed building battery packs for some Model Y vehicles using these in-house 4680 cells after an earlier generation had been redirected toward the Cybertruck due to lower energy density and a structural pack design that proved difficult to repair. It's worth being precise about what this is and isn't. It is not a new battery chemistry, and it does not eliminate the liquid electrolyte. Tesla's 4680 cell remains a conventional lithium-ion design, just manufactured without the wet coating step. What it does offer is a real, if incremental, path to lower cost. Removing the solvent and drying ovens is projected. Estimates from industry analysts vary widely, anywhere from 20 to 50%, to meaningfully cut cell production costs and shrink the factory footprint needed to build them, while allowing thicker, denser electrode coatings that some analysts estimate could add somewhere around 5 to 10% to energy density. Combined with the 4680's existing tabler's design, which reduces internal resistance and improves charging and thermal performance, and with Tesla's separate work blending small amounts of silicon into the anode to store more energy in the same volume, this is best understood as several real shipping improvements stacked together, not one breakthrough that fixes everything at once. To understand why this milestone matters competitively, it helps to understand exactly how strong BYD already is. BYD has been building batteries since 1995, longer than it has been building cars, and it controls most of its own supply chain from raw materials through to the finished vehicle. Its signature product is the Blade battery, a lithium iron phosphate design built around one defining test: drive a steel nail straight through a fully charged cell, one of the most severe ways to trigger an internal short circuit in a lab and see what happens. In BYD's own published testing, the Blade battery produced no smoke and no fire, with surface temperature staying in the 30 to 60 degrees Celsius range, while a comparable nickel-based cell exceeded 500 degrees and burned. BYD says the battery also survived crushing, bending, heating in a 300-degree furnace and overcharging to 260% of capacity without fire or explosion. That combination of low-cost, vertical integration and a genuinely strong safety record has translated into sales volume. BYD outsold Tesla in battery electric vehicles through most of 2025, delivering roughly 2.3 million fully electric vehicles for the year against Tesla's approximately 1.6 million, and when plug-in hybrids are included, its total new energy vehicle count for the year reached roughly 4.6 million. That lead hasn't been static, though. Tesla briefly reclaimed the global EV sales crown in the first quarter of 2026, as BYD's domestic sales in China fell sharply after Beijing ended its EV purchase tax exemption. BYD came back on top in the second quarter, delivering roughly 557,000 battery electric vehicles to Tesla's 480,000, leaning on rapid expansion into European, Southeast Asian and Latin American markets to offset a softer home market. So this isn't a story of one company running away from the other. It's a genuine back and forth, with BYD generally ahead on volume and price, and Tesla now closing a manufacturing gap that had been open since 2020. There's a quieter piece of this competition that gets less attention than range or price: how long these batteries actually last. Independent studies of high-mileage Tesla packs, including a recent analysis by the Swedish platform Carla covering more than 100,000 kilometers of real-world use, found lithium iron phosphate packs, the same basic chemistry behind BYD's Blade battery, retaining somewhere around 87 to 93% of their original capacity. Older nickel-based packs in the same studies degraded faster, typically landing in the low 70s to low 80% range over similar mileage. Tesla's own stated average across its full fleet is a loss of 12 to 15% by 200,000 miles. None of those numbers describe a battery that quits early, and they matter directly for the degradation wall, because a pack that still holds most of its capacity after a decade protects resale value, exactly the kind of confidence a growing used EV market needs. It's also worth stepping back from the Tesla versus BYD framing entirely, because neither company is racing alone. GAC Group has begun small batch vehicle testing of a true solid-state battery and is targeting mass production between 2027 and 2030. Toyota has said it expects mass production around 2027. CATL, along with firms like Sunwoda and GBT, is pursuing similar timelines, and Stellantis has been testing semi-solid-state cells supplied by Factorial in a demonstration fleet. None of this is finished technology yet, and forecasts in this industry have slipped before. But it means the pressure on both Tesla and BYD to keep improving is coming from more directions than just each other. For anyone actually shopping for an EV, the practical takeaway is simpler than the headlines suggest. Most electric cars sold today use one of two battery chemistries: lithium iron phosphate, the type in BYD's Blade battery and in many of Tesla's standard range models, is generally the safer and longer lasting option, and it tolerates being charged to 100% every night, well suited to drivers who mostly stay within a normal daily range and charge at home. Nickel-based batteries pack more energy into the same space, which means more range, but they're typically better cared for by charging to around 80% day to day, and they tend to wear a little faster over time. Long-distance drivers are usually the ones who benefit most from that extra range. Everyone else may be paying for capacity they rarely use. Beyond any individual purchase, there's a broader reason both companies are pouring this much money and engineering effort into batteries. Whichever one builds the cheapest, most durable cell doesn't just win car sales. Batteries store energy, and the same underlying technology that powers a cheaper electric car can also store solar and wind power for the grid and back up the data centers now running artificial intelligence workloads. That's the deeper reason Tesla and BYD, along with Toyota, CATL, and a long list of others, are fighting this hard over what looks on the surface like a single component of a car. So where does that leave things? Tesla did not out-engineer 20 years of unsolved battery physics in a single announcement, and anyone telling you it built a working solid-state battery is repeating a claim the company itself has not made. What it did do is finish a difficult 8-year manufacturing project that lowers its production costs and closes a real gap with cheaper competitors. A gap that had been open since Tesla first promised this exact technology back in 2020. That's a genuine engineering win, even if it's quieter and more specific than the headlines implied. BYD, meanwhile, remains the larger EV maker by volume, the cheaper option in most markets, and the company with arguably the strongest safety record in the industry, built on more than 2 decades of battery manufacturing experience. Neither company has delivered a knockout blow. What's actually happening is 2 different strategies pressing against each other at the same time. Tesla betting on manufacturing efficiency and incremental chemistry gains, BYD betting on scale, vertical integration, and price, while a wider field of competitors chases the true solid-state prize that could eventually make both of their current batteries look outdated. Whoever eventually wins that longer race won't just be selling more cars. They'll be positioned at the center of how the world stores energy for the next several decades, from the vehicles in driveways to the grids and data centers that increasingly depend on the same core technology.